We went to Morocco thinking we were about to have this amazing, relaxing holiday. And instead, within what felt like 5 minutes of arriving, I was already questioning whether we had made a massive mistake. But you know how hotel pictures are always suspiciously perfect? Everything is bright, the beds looks fluffy, and there's nice lighting. So naturally, I was expecting to arrive and have that exact same experience. We get there and immediately things start feeling off. This room did not look like the pictures. The room looked old, things looked worn down, and the air conditioning wasn't even working properly. And if you're going somewhere that is hot, air conditioning is not exactly a luxury. This is a basic survival equipment. But then things somehow got worse, because we get to the hotel and there was an issue with our reservation. Somehow they couldn't find our booking. And I'm just thinking, how have you lost a reservation for the people who are standing directly in front of you? We have the booking, we have the confirmation, and we've travelled all the way to Morocco. What do you mean you can't find it? And apparently this wasn't even just happening to us. There was another woman standing nearby who had basically the same exact problem. They had apparently lost her reservation as well. And then we hear that the hotel had told her that she could sleep in the lobby. At this point, I'm looking around like, is this actually our holiday? Because this was supposed to be a nice family trip, not an episode of Hotel Hell. Eventually, we got our room situation sorted, but by this point, I was already suspicious of everything. And then came the food. And now I'm not expecting every meal on holiday to be the best thing I've ever eaten, but the hotel food was just bland. Like impressively bland. You know when you eat something and your brain is desperately trying to find a flavour? That's what it was like. I'm sitting there thinking, did the chef season this with his thoughts? Because where's the salt? Where is the flavour? But then my sister actually ended up getting food poisoning. And obviously that made everything so much worse because now we're not just dealing with disappointing food. Someone is actually sick. So we're all trying to enjoy the holiday while also making sure she's okay. And I'm thinking, we have actually travelled all the way here and somehow we're spending part of our holiday worrying about food poisoning. And then there was the driving. Now I know driving can obviously be different in different countries, but I was like not prepared for how scary some of the driving felt. Because people were driving in ways that had me questioning every life decision I've ever made. Every time the car moved slightly too close to another vehicle, my soul would leave my body. And the whole time I'm trying to act calm because I don't want to make everyone else panic. But internally, I'm fighting for my life. At one point, I genuinely started thinking, maybe I should just close my eyes. But then obviously that would be even worse. Because if something happens, I need to see it coming. So I'm just sitting there watching the road like it's a horror movie. And the worst part is that after a while, you almost get used to it, which is somehow even scarier. But despite all this, there were still some really nice parts of Morocco. Because Morocco itself is genuinely beautiful. The colours, the architecture, the markets, and the scenery. These were moments where I was actually like, okay, this is what I came here for. And then I remember I had to go back to the hotel. And then there was the market experience. Now, expecting people trying to sell you things because obviously that's part of being in a busy market. But some people were not taking no for an answer. You'd say no and they keep following you, trying to convince you to buy something. And I'm just thinking, please, I've already said no 3 times. And then there was the catcalling. People would shout things at us as we were walking around. And one thing I genuinely wasn't expecting was people calling us Nutella. I don't even know what we were supposed to say to that. And then someone literally shouted Wakanda Forever at us. At the point, I was just walking around like, okay, interesting. Between the staring, the catcalling, and people trying to sell us things every 5 seconds, walking through the market was an experience in itself. And somehow, on the last day, when I thought we were finally going to make it out there peacefully, a small storm started. And at first, it wasn't even that serious. There was some rain, some wind, and a bit of thunder. And I'm thinking, okay, whatever it is, it's a little storm, we'll survive. But then the power went out. At this point, I genuinely had to laugh because of course it did. Like, why wouldn't the power go out? We would already had the missing reservation, the questionable room, the air conditioning barely working, the bland food, my sister getting food poisoning, the terrifying driving, and now on the last day, the hotel decides, you know what, let's turn the electricity off too. So suddenly everything goes dark and I'm just sitting there like, is this actually happening? The funny thing is, it was our last day, so I couldn't even be properly angry. I'm just thinking, well, at least we're leaving tomorrow. The storm eventually passed and the power came back. Looking back now, the funniest thing is that before the holiday, I was probably imagining myself coming back with all these cute holiday memories. Instead, I came back with approximately 47 stories about things going wrong. There were genuinely beautiful parts of the trip, and I would still recommend people experience Morocco. But our particular holiday, let's just say the hotel definitely had a personal vendetta against us. So yeah, if you're ever booking a holiday, remember my story. Maybe check the hotel reviews, check the room pictures, check a reservation, and most importantly, make sure your reservation actually exists. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.